Holy Thursday is the day Jesus gathered with his disciples for the last meal before his crucifixion. Afterward, they would go to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus would be arrested and taken to be tried and then crucified. In upcoming posts, I would like to reflect on the events of Holy Week. This supper, along with the rest of the Passover meal, spoke of the Exodus from Egypt. Any Jew of the first century knew it symbolized the return from captivity, the new Exodus, the great renewal of the covenant promised by the prophets. The meal also symbolized the forgiveness of sins, the return of the Lord to deliver his people, his victory over evil. It was the fulfillment of the scriptures, part of the culmination of the long story of God's plan for the salvation of his people. With this meal, Christ also wanted to say that the kingdom is already beginning in and through him. He had condemned the temple to destruction a couple of days earlier, and now he was giving it an alternative. The Passover meal was celebrated in the community without reference to the temple system. Using prophetic symbolism, he correlated the bread with his body and the wine with his blood, linking this to Passover, sacrifice, and the covenant. According to the gospel accounts, he indicated that this meal with his disciples would be the last before the coming of the kingdom of God, emphasizing the proximity of key events. The symbolism of the bread. Like the actions of the prophets of the OT, Jesus gave bread a prophetic significance. His words pointed to his impending death, which would be the source of life for his followers. The Passover unleavened bread symbolized deliverance from Egyptian bondage. However, it was originally associated with a hasty exodus. Thus, Jesus not only presented himself as the means of Israel's deliverance, but also signified that his mission would be fulfilled in the near future. The significance of the cup. The wine in the cup Jesus associated with his blood, which referred to the renewal of the covenant through his death. This symbolized Israel's deliverance from captivity, similar to the Exodus from Egypt. The phrase blood of the covenant refers to the establishment of the covenant at Sinai, Acts 24-8, and messianic expectations, Zech 9-9, -11. Jesus' death was seen as a step toward final deliverance, which is consistent with his actions in Jerusalem. Kingdom prophecy. Throughout the Synoptic Gospels, Jesus emphasizes that this meal is the last meal before the establishment of the kingdom of God. This statement is consistent with the eschatological character of his preaching. Like the ancient Passover, his sacrifice was to bring about a speedy deliverance. The remembrance of the meal. The instruction to repeat the meal in remembrance of him reveals its symbolic role. If the Exodus from Egypt was commemorated by the Passover as a reminder of freedom, the new meal was a sign of Jesus' messianic work. This suggests that his death was seen as part of God's plan for the establishment of the kingdom. The symbolism of the meal, reinterpreted through the lens of the Exodus, points to the continuity and finality of this mission. Jesus washing the feet of his disciples, John 13-117, is a profound act of humility, love, and servant leadership. In a culture where foot washing was the task of the lowliest servant, Jesus, their teacher and Lord, took the role of a servant to show what true greatness looks like in the kingdom of God. It was more than a gesture of hospitality. It was a symbolic act that pointed to his entire mission, to cleanse, serve, and give himself for others. By doing this, Jesus redefined authority as rooted in service, not status. He called his followers to imitate him not by seeking power, but by humbly loving and serving one another. The foot washing also foreshadowed the cleansing that would come through his death. It was an invitation to be part of him, not just in belief, but in action and lifestyle.